What's going on, guys? It's Russell again. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you'll get alerted whenever I post stock alert services reviews, option services reviews, investment stuff. And today I'm going to tell you our story of when my wife Malia and I were just starting out on our entrepreneurial journeys, and we turned about 20,000 into six figures within a year or so with a combination of stock trading and real estate investing. So as I started, this is the house that we bought as our first rental property. But the story begins about a year before when we started investing in stocks. We were completely new traders and we bought a service called Superman Swing Trading, this guy here. So you guys might be familiar with him already. If not, you should definitely check him out. I'll leave a link to an article that we did about this in the description below. And you can go and check him out. He's a really, really great trader. And that's actually where we got our stock trading start. And this is the chart. So the story begins in January 13 when Malia actually got some money from basically like a college trust fund. We were completely broke at the time, so we had like no money. We're slaving away, just couldn't get ahead. So it was only about 20K, but it seemed like $1 million to us at the time. So we used it to basically start buying stocks and swing trade them. And we had some really great successful in super trades. And you can see here kind of the profits and our profit loss as we made our way up over the course of 2013. So it was really cool. We're starting to make money, and we actually got up to the end of the year and took some money out here and used it to basically pay off some student loan debt and then also to buy our first rental property. So this is kind of that story, and I hope it's something that you guys can, think about, because so many people, they'll make a fast buck in the market as beginners, maybe beginner luck, but then they'll lose it all and then just quit. The best thing, in my opinion, to do is to actually make that money, trading, and then put it into something else so that you can't actually physically lose it. And then if you make profits from the other investment, say in this case real estate, you can then build up the trading account again and keep going with the trading and just repeat until wealthy, basically. So that's kind of what we did. We took our trading profits out there and we bought a four-bedroom townhouse in Bozeman, Montana. So go up to the top here. So we actually only put 12,000 as a down payment. The way that we did this was basically lived in one of the rooms and rented out the other room. So it was a four-bedroom townhouse, which allowed us to basically live completely mortgage free and make a substantial profit. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we kind of cash flowed that. Maybe it'll give you some ideas on how you might want to do something similar. So the way that we got around 20% down, like you said, so normally for an investment property you have to put 20% down. We put 5% down because we were planning to live in it as our home. And that's how you can really get started on the ladder if you want to build up a real estate portfolio by just putting small amounts of capital down. Like we were really strapped for money, so that was really the only way we could get going with this. But we also read a lot before we did this, right? So there's a couple of books that if you haven't read and you want to get into investing and just good mindset stuff for trading as well. Rich Dad Poor Dad is the classic one by Robert Kiyosaki. Goes into everything about how to build wealth. That was a huge game changer in our financial future. Buy It, Rent It, Profit is also an awesome book that you should definitely get if you're planning to do this. So it's not as hard as you think, and just getting some basic understanding of things and getting your mindset in the right place is definitely a really good place to start. So we traded to get the down payment. We also did some side hustling as well, which I'll talk about in another video. But the basically what we tried to do was find a place which was very low cost to get started, but had a huge demand for tenants, right? So a college town in Montana is probably the best place to start because you have that huge demand, that huge shortage of houses, and it's a very low cost place to get started. So what we did is we actually bought this townhouse and started renting out the rooms, like I said. Let's go down a little bit here. I'll link you guys to this article if you want to read our full story. So it was a four-bedroom, three-bathroom townhouse. The idea is we wanted more bathrooms, less land, because more land, just you're not needing that if you're trying to cash flow rental property, right? So more bedrooms would be better. And We wanted to buy it brand new because it was our first property of any kind, not just our first rental property. So we bought it straight from the builder, and they actually gave us a good price because they were, they've got cash flow issues too. So they're trying to get the property, built and then sold. So we actually got a good price. We also did a deal with them to reduce how much money we needed up front to fund this. So we actually tacked on a little bit extra and they covered the closing costs, right? So we put that extra. Normally you cover some closing costs. We actually put that extra onto the cost of the house. So they ended up paying the closing costs, but it really was bundled into our mortgage because we could handle the monthly payments, but we really didn't have any extra money at all to cover this. So that's one trick you can use. So the two tricks really are find the right place, which got the high demand, get the right number of rooms, so as many rooms as you can afford for the lowest cost possible price, and then also try and only put 5% down if you're really struggling for cash, and bundle everything you can into a mortgage, which is spread over payments, and your tenants will end up paying for that anyway. So let's keep going a little bit. So we basically wanted to buy it new because we really weren't sure about maintenance, repair costs, that kind of thing. We wanted to make sure that this thing was, not going to be a money hole. We literally wouldn't be able to afford that. So here is a picture of the inside. It's just downstairs. You can kind of see the rustic Montana look to it, and Smolia in the background there, just doing something in the kitchen. This was before we kind of furnished it. And that was the other trick that I'm going to talk about a little bit, is how we managed to make about $3,000 a month just from renting this place out. I think the mortgage was only about $1,200, so it was a fantastic investment, cash flowing and capital gains for us. So we bought what's called a townhouse in Montana. It's basically kind of like a duplex, and they're extremely popular. I think the size was like 2,000 odd square feet, so it was pretty big. It had 4 bedrooms. We didn't want to buy a single family home because you basically pay twice as much for the same and same sort of size, same number of rooms, and it just doesn't make any sense if you're trying to buy a cash flowing property. So we had a tiny yard because we didn't want to pay for a lot of land. It's the yard. So what we found is we could charge as much as $1,000 a month. Sorry, clear my throat there. $1,000 a month for every room. So definitely high risk, high reward business model because you have to live with the people that you're renting to, and they can be quite crazy, as we found out. We were taking on high risk tenants just because they would often pay more money for the room. So it's kind of high risk, high reward because they weren't, ideal tenants is the best way to put it. And I'll tell you a little bit about what happened with some of them. So we wanted to get the highest rent per room. Like it was really like do or die for us. We couldn't really afford this house by ourselves, so we had to really cash flow. And we wanted to really, start to get up there financially. So what we did to be able to charge $1,000 a month per room was to offer a lot of things like we furnished all the rooms so that people could just move in. That's perfect for high risk tenants that maybe, can't really even afford to or, move all their stuff or whatever. So we also offered them breakfast and coffee and tea, which is quite funny in retrospect, but that also was something that we were able to attract people with. They didn't really have to do any cleaning. We did most of the cleaning as well. I think we started at 750 per month, but at one point we were charging $1,000 a room, so it's pretty good. So we prepared the house with, guest towels, pillows, bed sheets, basically like fast internet. They didn't have to pay for any bills at all, so we basically made it really attractive. So that was pretty cool. The only downside to this was that we got some really, really weird tenants. So we got some mental ill patients, basically. One woman actually almost blew up her house because we were out hiking and she left the gas on and it filled this 2,000 odd square foot house with gas. I came back and I don't have a sense of smell, so I nearly caused the house to go kaboom. Luckily, Malia came in and she was like, it's full of gas here, let's get out. So that was a bit of a disaster. We had a lot of crazy people. There was a few demanding people that we had to turn down. One guy wanted us to be his personal taxi all over the place. Then another guy wanted us to drive him to college every day. So there's definitely a downside to this type of rental business, but so basically what we did is once we'd lived there for about a year, we actually moved out, rented it for a bit. So we did it through a property management company. We moved to California at the time. That was very passive and definitely much more hands off. But the profit margins were much lower. So that's something that's definitely worth, thinking about is if you can put up with the discomfort of having to live with people, you'll make a lot more money and you can then reinvest that money into, say, trading stocks and then continue that process. So we actually sold the house pretty soon afterwards, made a six figure profit on it, which was really nice, which allowed us to then start doing other ventures, which I'll talk about in future videos, including stock trading, obviously. And that's basically our story. I'd really, really, really recommend doing this. So it depends on a lot of things. If you live in a big city, this will be much harder to do because of the cost to start up. But to go from a $12,000 investment, so to basically six figures in just a matter of about 18 months or less is an awesome accomplishment for us. And it really got us started on the road, which over the last 10 years we've been going down to basically financial freedom and entrepreneurship. So I hope that video is useful to you guys. Definitely leave a comment leave a comment below because we're always interested in hearing other people's success stories and other ideas to make some passive income and cash flow. And so, yeah, I think that's all I've really got to say on this. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll catch up with you guys in the next one. All right, thanks.